Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're tackling a massive one, and it's something practically everyone is dealing with right now. How to use AI for homework without cheating. Look, for a lot of students, AI has felt like this kind of shady shortcut, right? Like something you desperately try to hide from your professors. But our mission today is to completely transform how you view this technology. We're going to take it from being a lazy tool that just does the work for you and turn it into a powerful academic copilot, one that actually makes you a sharper thinker and honestly, just a much better student. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our syllabus for today that'll take us from baseline ethics all the way to advanced prompt engineering. We'll kick things off with Section 1, the AI homework trap. Then move into Section 2, rules of ethical AI. From there, we'll cover a framework called Human to AI to Human, explore your 24/7 virtual tutor, and finally wrap up with perfecting your AI prompts. But before we get into the mechanics of all that, we absolutely have to address the elephant in the room. Are you just outsourcing your brain? Seriously, when you get an assignment, are you falling into that temptation of just pasting the prompt in, hitting enter, and copying the output? Because if you are, you're not innovating. You are quite literally outsourcing your brain and just giving away your critical thinking skills. Which brings us right into Section 1, the AI homework trap, and how avoiding it is the only way to stop producing generic robotic writing. There is a huge fundamental difference in mindset here. It's using AI as a ghostwriter versus using it as a co-pilot. When you rely on AI to just do the heavy lifting for you, the answers get super generic real fast. The examples are vague, the writing sounds completely cold and robotic, and most importantly, absolutely zero actual learning is taking place. But contrast that with the co-pilot mindset. The top 1% of students are already using AI this way to collaborate and to augment their thoughts, not to replace them. The end goal is to build a solid foundation of knowledge. But if we want it to act as a true co-pilot, we've got to play by the rules of the realm. So let's look at Section 2, Rules of Ethical AI, the non-negotiable ground rules. Whether you're an undergrad knocking out a term paper or a researcher publishing in a major academic journal, there is universal consensus on these three baseline rules to ensure you don't, get kicked out of school. First step, disclose your use of AI explicitly. If you use it, you state it clearly in your methodology or acknowledgments. You have to show your work. Second, no manipulation. You absolutely cannot use AI to alter or falsify original research data just because you want a specific data point to look a little better. And third, no AI authors. Large language models simply do not satisfy the criteria for authorship. And because AI can't be an author, that means you remain entirely responsible for the facts. I actually love this quote from academic researcher Andy Stapleton. When you get a response from an AI, he urges you to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, with a red pen. You literally need to act like a cynical collaborator in the lab. Don't just blindly accept what the AI spits out. Read it, mark it up, point out what's rubbish, revise it. AI doesn't have feelings. You can mercilessly tell it that its work isn't very good. So, how do we actually execute this kind of collaboration in our daily homework? Well, Section 3 is Human to AI to Human. This is the ultimate workflow. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how you should interact with these tools to make sure your work stays 100% yours. Step 1 is human. You start things off by providing the context and exploring options. Step 2 is AI. The tool brainstorms frameworks and throws different angles at you. And then Step 3 is human again. You pick the best option and refine it using your own unique thoughts. The golden rule here? You should never start with a blank page, but you absolutely must always finish with your own original voice. Let's look at a highly practical example of that first step. Imagine you're staring down a history essay. Instead of typing, "write my essay," which we already know is a terrible idea, you use a prompt like this. Help me brainstorm 5 unique angles for a history essay on the Industrial Revolution that focus on the environmental impact. The AI might fire back with angles about the birth of the climate crisis, or maybe the psychology of humanity's relationship with nature. You read those over, select the thesis direction that actually sparks your interest, and then you sit down and write the essay yourself. Now, beyond just writing essays, AI is unbelievable at breaking things down. Moving into Section 4, your 24/7 virtual tutor. This is all about tackling complex concepts, like, say, trying to understand why time moves slower near a black hole. Think about how we approach a terrifying math assignment. Say you're looking at a wildly complex calculus and probability problem about AI, drone energy optimization, and wind failure probabilities. Total nightmare, right? Instead of just pasting the question in to get the final number, you use this exact prompt. Explain this to me like I'm 12 years old and show me 3 ways to solve this problem. When you do this, the AI won't just solve it, it'll break down the rules of the game. For that insane drone problem, the AI gave 3 distinct methods. First, trial and error, kind of the gamer way, testing different paths to see the energy cost. Second, the expected value equation, the math way, using calculus to find the exact bottom of the energy curve. And third, the graphing method, the visual way, picturing the formula as a valley to find the lowest point. By forcing it to explain the mechanics in 3 entirely different ways, you actually learn the underlying math yourself. And the crazy thing is, you can apply this virtual tutor strategy everywhere. Ask it to explain incredibly difficult concepts. Ask it to summarize specific models, instead of wading through an entire chapter. It can generate true, false, or multiple choice practice questions right before a big exam. And my absolute favorite, you can even paste in your grading rubric and ask the AI to critique your submission like a real professor would. I mean, it will literally identify unclear sections and challenge your assumptions before you even hand it in. That is a real game changer. Getting those brilliant tutor results requires a bit of skill, though, which brings us to our final section. Section 5, perfecting your AI prompts. How to talk to your copilot. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the secret to success basically comes down to hitting at least 3 of these 5 elements: context, requirements, constraints, format, and audience. Using this exact structure stops you from just smashing random ideas into a chatbot and crossing your fingers. Just to visually punctuate this lesson, check out this hilariously specific prompt. You are a twice-divorced, tenured professor with hairy ears. Now, apart from adding a little bit of tasteful humor to a late-night study session, structurally, this prompt is actually perfect. Let's move to and see how this builds, because breaking down that absurd prompt shows exactly how it maps to our framework. The context is set, you're a tenured professor. The requirement is super clear. Read this PDF document and provide takeaways. The format is specified, a bulleted list. And the audience is defined, undergraduate students. By telling the AI exactly who it's pretending to be and exactly who it is speaking to, it knows the precise language level and tone to use. So the absolutely crucial point is this. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative final thought. AI can generate the words, but who is doing the thinking? Look, AI is not perfect. It can and it will make mistakes, and it absolutely repeats common misconceptions. It is an unbelievable tool for brainstorming, for summarizing, and for breaking down really complex theories. But you have to remain the master of this technology, not its servant. Use it to support your thinking, not replace it. Because ultimately, you are the one building the foundation of knowledge that you're going to need for the rest of your life. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.